How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in plates? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. This is Jeff Smith, and today we are going to be talking about freedom and what does that exactly mean to you. In our Tactical Empire Inner Circle group, one of the four pillars that we work on is freedom. And I've got a lot of questions in the past about what that means, right? But we've talked about it in the past. Today I'm going to hit on a little bit different topic as far as living with intention. Okay. There's different aspects to freedom that we target when we're talking about freedom. One, like, let's do the obvious, physical freedom. Like, are you actually physically free, or are you locked up in prison or somehow constrained, right? There's mental freedom. Like, are people living rent free in your head? Are you allowing outside influences to affect you negatively? One of the mental health is something we talk about frequently because all the guys I work with are entrepreneurs. And so mental health is a huge topic in that space, obviously. So keeping the freedom pillar strong has to do with how you're operating, how you're showing up, and how your mentality is, right? Then there's other aspects of freedom, like freedom of time. How are you spending your days? Are you doing what you choose to do? Are you doing what you're passionate about? Freedom of location. Are you confined to one area? Do you have to live in a certain city? And so one of the things that I push back on people about constantly is their inability to recognize that they are the person oftentimes putting themselves in these chains. The restrictions that you have on yourself, unless you've got outside influences, that there's certain things like you have a child that you have to stay in a certain area to see, or something like that, that you don't live with. There's different things that are understandable, but there's ways to change almost everything. Most of the restrictions of freedom that you're feeling have workarounds, and it's just because we're locked in a fixed state of lack or conventional norms that we don't have the ability to kind of free our thinking and think outside the box. So when I talk to people and they're like, well, I'm stuck here because I'm making this particular income and I have to do this and have to do that, like, none of that is true. For the most part, you have the freedom to change almost every aspect of your life, right? But you can't do any of it if you're not living with intention. Because if you're living in a reactionary manner, meaning you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you're relying on an employer to take care of you, or any number of things, if you rely on other sources to provide you with that security, then you are not moving in the right direction from a level of intentionality, right? There's also capabilities that we can talk about, but like I'm huge on preaching about being capable men, right? You should be capable physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, all of it. And the problem that I see mostly is that people get caught up in the day-to-day cycle of the hamster wheel of reaction, right? Because days go by slow when you're not doing what you want, but they go by much faster. But years go by fast, right? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to make up some quote, but like the days can be long when you're doing something you're not very passionate about, or you feel stuck. But what happens is you'll snap your fingers and you'll look up, it'll be 6 months later, a year later, and you've not made any progress. And that's what we don't want to do. You cannot build your empire and reverse engineer your lifestyle without understanding first what you want out of life. And so having a heightened sense of awareness about these restrictions or perceived restrictions that you have to have a level of awareness on, how do I reverse that? How do I reverse this situation? Is it money? Money's really easy to solve, but most people, again, going back to conventional norms of the way things are done, you get a job, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you put money in your 401k. Even entrepreneurs that I know and work with frequently, their financial aptitude is on the lower scale. They're great producers, but they don't understand all of these financial tools that are available to them because of what we've been taught conventionally or what we've watched our parents do. Like, cash flow is the name of the game. If you can generate cash flow on a regular basis with recurring revenue over time, you can retire at any point in time. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's all about. That's why I hate 401ks so much, because you're locking up your money till you're 65 and you're essentially making yourself stuck. You're limiting yourself. And I like options so that I can pull levers and move things around and go in different directions whenever I want to, or when I want to change different things about our life. Okay. So the way to go about doing this is understanding what you and your family truly want and being honest with yourself, right? We've talked about that in the past, but ultimately that is the key to success. Where do I see myself in 3 years? What am I doing with my time? How am I making my money? Where am I located? What things do I own? Who do I spend my time with? What kind of shape am I in physically? All of this stuff should play into what your vision looks like, because from there, then you can compress it and say, hey, what do I need to do in 1 year to move myself in that direction? And in 1 year from now, you can really just work backwards from that 3-year vision. What do I need? Boom, boom, boom. I need to be on track here financially. I need to be on track here from my fitness, physical standpoint. I need to be on track here with the family. We need to be on track with our moving plans, or whatever you're doing. I'm using that as an example because we're in the process of actually working this exact plan to move and relocate. But we've got a lot of things tying us here for right now. But those are all going to be defeated quickly because I'm intentional with what we do and we work backwards from what we truly want. So that said, then you compress that. You've got your 1 year plan now. Okay, these are the things I need to do in a year. Obviously, there's things on that list that are going to take a little bit of time. Okay, but it's not as much time as you think with focused action. One of the things I teach my guys all the time is critical tasks, right? You have to have actual critical tasks to do on a daily basis. 3 or 5, doesn't have to be 50. Okay, they have to be something that moves you forward in the direction, in support of your goals, either annual goal or quarterly goal, right? So it's not just bullshit busy work. It's not like make the sales calls, call some leads. Like, that's not what it is. It's actual true needle movers that are moving you in the direction of what you want to be doing. Most people spend their days doing the reactionary work. So they do 50 things in a day, but it's nothing substantial that moves them forward to where they're going. They do a branding exercise or change the colors of their logo or something like that. That's not meaningful and doesn't really make you money. It's something that has to be done potentially, depending on where you're at in your business or what you're doing in your life, but it's not actually something that meaningfully moves yourself forward. So we talk in our group about how your habits are what help you win, but your habits are the structure that you use to keep you in line, in alignment, productive, mentally healthy, in a great relationship with your spouse, with your kids, all of that stuff, being great fathers, being great leaders in our communities. But those habits are just the starting point. Those are your guardrails to keep you on track. So if you deviate and you feel like shit and you don't get a lot done, I guarantee you can look back on those guardrails and say, hey man, I have been dropping the ball here. I haven't been doing my fitness. I haven't been doing my morning routine, whatever it is, right? Everybody's got their own stuff. And so I'm not here to put it out to you on how to live or the routine that you need to get in. Like, it's taken me years to optimize my system. And so the key is those are your habits. You're going to do them every day, right? So if you're calling leads or whatever, that might just be a habit, but there's substantial things that move your business forward. Like, oh, we need to bring on VAs so that I can delegate this, this, and this. Like that's a substantial move. Okay. Hire a VA, interview a VA. If you're not using VAs, whatever, maybe it's a staff assistant and you bring someone in physically. It doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on the example. But ultimately, doing those critical tasks on a regular basis, you really start to compound your wins. And what you'll see, and I have 5-7 years of data of producing results on this, both personally and with hundreds of clients. What you'll see is what you wanted in that 3-year vision that you thought wasn't possible for 3 years. You can compress time and achieve almost all of it. In some cases, every single thing you want, you can have in under 12 months. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. The problem is most people put their goals way too far out. Most people's 10-year vision of their life is actually achievable 3-year vision. And so 3 ultimately by default could be a year and a half time frame with focused attention and true intentionality. Because the problem most people run into is they don't necessarily plan this out. Okay. Are you one of those people? I mean, that's why I'm asking these questions. That's why I'm teaching on this, because I talk to people all the time that feel stuck, that feel like their situation is helpless, and they're relying on the man for whatever, in whatever case that may be, right? Whatever situation that is. Like, where is your lack of freedom? Do you have to work from 7 to 7 every day? Something like that. If you don't enjoy that, identify those areas of constriction where you're bristling and you don't want that in your life anymore, and then reverse engineer a plan out of it. Okay. So if it's as simple as a job, location is a very easy one, right? Most people think that they have to live a certain place. I mean, there's studies out there that most people don't live a certain radius, like 30 miles from the place they grew up. And I'll tell you what, that's generally a recipe for disaster, because if you are pursuing growth and personal development and trying to change the human being you are, you're going to have to naturally change your circles most of the time. So if you're around the same people you've been around since you're 5 years old, there could be people on the same journey. There's no question. It's probably a very small, select group of people who are on that journey with you. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck. And I say that to say most people are like, this is why we live here. This is because it's easy. The kids go to school here, blah, 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 blah. Or we live near our parents, whatever, right? You have to think outside the box. Is there other ways to do things? Is there other conversations that could be had? Maybe those people don't want to live there either, and you guys could start looking for other options. Okay. I'm not going to belabor this and ramble on. That is the plan, and that is the way you work yourself out of things. You should question more of the areas you feel restricted in, because ultimately freedom is about freedom of all aspects of what you're doing. So if there's areas of stress, areas of anxiety, notice those emotions when they come up. If the checking account is tight, if you don't like living where you like living, or whatever it is, right? Notice your emotions and what brought that about, and then ask yourself what needs to change for this to change. Because I mean, the saying is nothing changes if nothing changes. And so do you need new habits to achieve different results in your health? Do you need new habits with budgeting to achieve different results financially? Do you need more education on knowledge of financials so that you can produce outside income or revenue streams? Or do you need help with your business? All of those things, right? So just some questions to ask yourself today. Are you living a free life as you see it? And we'll leave politics out of it for today. But if you have any questions, let me know. You can hit me up. I want you guys all building your empires. So I'm here to help. Real Jeff Smith on IG. You can email me at jeff@therealjeffsmith.com at any point. If you have any questions, if you want to hop into any of our groups, let me know. Send me a DM. I'd love to have you. We're building a tribe of leaders at this point. So live intentionally, be free. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the show. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of the Tactical Empire.